What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob, doing a Springbank rundown for you guys. So I got the last release of the Springbank Local Barley 9-year-old, the 2019 Springbank 21-year-old, and the 2019 Springbank 25-year-old. I put these three together because I feel like this would be the most interesting of the bunch. I heard not so great things about the 12-year-old this year. I've already reviewed the 15-year-old. I've already reviewed the 18-year-old, so I decided to stick to these ones. The Local Barley here was bottled in October of 2018, so it's not technically a 2019, but it's the most recent release for the Springbank Local Barleys. These things fly off the shelf. Probably not able to get this anymore. I split this bottle here with Jeremy from Sipper Social Club. 57.7%. As you can tell, the color is super light. Probably a tired ex-bourbon cask. If there's any ex-sherry in there, it's definitely refill. Alright? I'm going to nose all three of these, taste them, and give them a mark. Okay, so when we first opened the Springbank Local Barley 9-year-old, we were pretty disappointed. I was definitely disappointed. I'm going to speak for myself here. The nose is nice, and it's opened up quite a bit from day one to now. It's a lot more full. There was a lot less going on. There was a lot of new make type smells coming off of the nose the first time I opened this. Like I said, it's only 9 years old. But that 9 years is compromised in my opinion because I feel like the casks used for this Local Barley were very, very used. Very old, tired casks. So there's definitely a new make type nose, which some people love, but I'd rather have a new make type nose in something that's only 3 or 4 years old. Not when I'm spending close to $200 Canadian. Okay. Sweet grass on the nose. Some vanilla's in there. There's a malty note in there as well. Pretty much no peat on the nose. Nice stuff. Just not overwhelmingly nice. On the palate, so this one takes water really, really well, and it definitely needs it. It's a little bit too hot without the water. 57.7% is not small. Add to the fact that it's a younger whiskey, but there are some nice flavors here. You get cask strength. After many times of trying this whiskey, for the first time I actually just received a little bit of a cinnamon note on the finish, which was nice. I'm going to add a little bit of water. So with a little bit of water here, definitely improves. There's a licorice type note in there. Definitely a black licorice type note. The malty note comes through. It's nice. It's a really nice whiskey. I would have no problem spending $50 to $80 on this whiskey Canadian. The fact that this bottle flies off shelves, that goes for so much more on secondary than it does on retail, and the fact that the retail price on this is about $100 American, so about $130 Canadian. Some places are charging already more than that if they still have it. I'm not buying this again, and I'm probably going to have to give this one an 84. I don't think that's an awful mark. I think it's good whiskey. I think if someone gave that to me blind and said, I paid $60, I paid $80 for this whiskey, I'd be like, wow, that's a really good whiskey for $80. I love the fact that it's got a lot going on, but it's too hot and definitely not worth the price tag. So that's my opinion on that. Moving on to the 21-year-old. The 21-year-old is a combination of port casks and rum casks. This is the 2019. It's bottled at 46%. Like I said, it's a combination of port and rum. 45% port cask and 55% rum cask. This one blew me away when we first opened it. It's continued to impress me. I actually split this bottle with my buddy Jasper. So a few of these were splits. Actually, all three of these were splits because of the prices that they're going for these days. But I'll let you know what I think about this one. Just over 3,000 bottles of the 21 this year. And the nose is absolutely gorgeous. You get that port, berry jam, right away on the nose. There's definitely strawberries in this. Like a berry compote. Vanilla. Brown sugar. The nose is gorgeous. It's a plethora of dessert-like treats, honestly. On the palate, wow. So the viscosity is great on this. It's smooth. It's syrupy. It's got a beautiful sweetness. The finish is beautiful. There's a little bit of like a coffee note on it. Delicious. Honestly, it's delicious. I'm gonna actually, I know what I think I'm gonna mark these, but I'm gonna wait till the end. I'm gonna try the 25 first before I give a final mark on either of these because it's that close. There's nothing wrong with this whiskey. Would it be better at 48%? Maybe. But I think they did a great job with the ABV here. I know that they always bottle the 21, or at least most recently bottle the 21 at 46%. Same with the 25-year-old. I think 46% is a great drinking percentage for this whiskey. You don't have to add a drop of water. You can just to play with it, see if it opens things up a little bit. I know it actually does draw out some other things in the whiskey, but I love the viscosity that comes with this at natural 46%. So I don't like adding too much water in this. The nose is gorgeous. The palate's gorgeous. There's a nice oaky note that kind of turns into like a coffee note. Just really, really nice. Moving on to the 25-year-old. There's less than 2,000 bottles. I believe it's 1,200 bottles made of the 2019 25-year-old Springbank. It's bottled at 46%. It's a combination of sherry and rum casks, heavily sherried with a little bit less rum. I think it's about 65-35 if I'm not mistaken. It could be 60-40. I can't remember which one, but it's one of those two for sure. This stuff is crazy. It's got a little bit more of the Springbank funk than the 21-year-old, and I'm going to nose it, taste it, and give it a mark right now. So, my friends Jeremy from Sipper Social Club, Jasper, and Paulo all bought a bottle of this to split. We split it 4 ways. We got a little bit less than the full mark on this little bottle here. This is a 200 ml bottle. I think the fill level was about here, if I'm not mistaken, which was more than enough whiskey to get to know this. So if I were you guys and I'm looking to buy some more expensive bottles, find 3 guys, because I feel like that's the perfect amount to have with some friends to really, really get to know that whiskey, especially if you really like it. I obviously bought a backup bottle of this because of how good it was. But if you're going to look to a more expensive bottle, split it with some guys. At least this way, 4 guys get the experience, and it's a little bit less painful on the wallet. So yeah, definitely some oak here. There is some notes of that Springbank funk that everybody loves, or at least Springbank fans love. There's a sweetness here coming from, I think, the rum casks. And then a spiciness coming from those sherry casks. Okay, nice color on it. Obviously, all of these are natural color, no added anything, unchill filtered. Okay, so this 25-year-old is in a league of its own, honestly. It won my favorite 25-year-old Scotch to date. Go back and check out that video if you haven't already. I'll actually put a link to that. But it's got so much going on. Last night I had an opportunity to try the Highland Park 30-year-old. I think competing with this, I would still go with this, and they're not the same age, so it's not really a fair comparison, but I wanted to remember what that 25-year-old was like, and I really got those flavors from the 30-year-old, but the 30 actually does it better, in my opinion. The Highland Park 30 is a bit better than the 25. Maybe not worth the jump in price better, but definitely better. I think the Springbank is better than both of those, to be honest with you. And if I'm being fair, the viscosity on this is gorgeous. But I think you need to like Springbank to like this 25. A Springbank fan's dream, in my opinion. It's got that funkiness. It's got this smooth, viscous, syrupy flavor. There's a nice oak in there. You get sweetness, almost like a molasses-like sweetness. Brown sugars, coffee notes. Way more coffee heavy than the 21. The 21 is way more fruit heavy than the 25, in my opinion. Wow. They're just so different. You would almost think that these came from different distilleries, how different the 21 is from the 25. And they are actually concocted differently. This one has port and rum, this one has sherry and rum. So automatically you're getting a different wine influence on both of these. If I have to mark these, and it's been really tough for me to decide where I'm going to go with this. I've been weighing through some of the stuff that I've had, some of the stuff that, and honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I've had too much better than these ever, or too much better than these this year. And this year I've had some of the best whiskey I've ever tried. I don't know if you guys can see it from the camera angle, but I've had this Mortlock this year, the beginning of this year. I had this Linkwood, which I haven't reviewed yet, but it'll be coming soon. Incredible stuff. Probably my highest marks I've had so far. This 21 and this 25 are bonkers. They are bonkers. For the 21, I'm gonna give this a 92. It's so good. And this is the thing. My 92 now beats out what I probably put at a 93 or a 94 last year, because I've had so many better whiskeys in the last little while that it's dropping everything substantially. And I guess if I had to compare this to like the Highland Park 21, I love that Highland Park 21. I think I gave it a higher mark than this, but this is actually better in my opinion. So I guess that's the best way to explain this situation. When you try better whiskey, the whiskey that you thought was once a 90, let's say, is now probably dropped down a couple marks, if not a substantial amount of marks, to what we've had before. So 92, I would go even as high as a 93 on this 21. It's delicious. The best comparable I can give to the fruitiness and all that different type of craziness going on with this whiskey is that Ben Riach 22 Moscatel that I put as the runner-up to my whiskey of the year a couple years back. So I don't think anybody's gonna argue with that, man. You know what? I'm gonna change it. It's a 93. It's that good. Every once in a while, you find a whiskey that the finish is so good you don't want to take a sip of water because you don't want to lose that finish, and it lasts. That's that 21 right there. Moving on to the 25. As far as mark goes, let me just give this one last sip. So, it's less sweet than the 21. If you like that sweetness, that robust sweetness, go with the 21, okay? This is probably a 94 for me. It's so good. It is ridiculously good. It's got so much going on the palate. It's got oakiness, it's got coffee, it's got molasses type sweetness, brown sugar, so many different things. It's a 94. It has to be a 94. That's a really high mark, but it's worth it. Split this bottle with some friends, definitely worth it, because you might not get a chance to try it, or it might be a bit out of your league, on your own. I had to sell a few things to get my hands on a backup bottle of this because it is really expensive. But we got a great deal on these whiskeys. I believe we paid $600 and I want to say $70 all in. I might be wrong about that exact number. I can't remember what shipping and taxes and all that stuff came out to, but I believe it was around $670. Split 3 ways. I know that it was $166 or something along those lines between 4 people. So we got actually globally a great price on this. That's Canadian dollars. That's probably around, I want to say 4 something, high 4s American. Just like high 3s in pounds. So a good price on what is known to be a very expensive whiskey. It is expensive though. 6 something is at least $200 more than what these are going for, and we got a great deal on these as well. So all that being said, 93, 94, the price difference now. I want to talk a little bit about that. If you're a Springbank fan, the price difference will be worth it to you. If you're not typically drawn to Springbank and you're just looking for a great Scotch experience, I don't think you want to spend the extra money on the 25. I think you're going to want to just stick with the 21 if you can get it. It's beautiful whiskey. It's expensive. It's not cheap. It's in the high 3s Canadian. Some places are going over 4 already. I'm not sure exactly what this is going for in the United States, but it's not cheap. These two are amazing. This one fell short for me, and the funny thing is these things don't stick around on shelves very long. Then again, none of these really stick around on shelves very long. So if you have the opportunity, split these with some buddies. This would be an avoid unless you really want that like new make experience with Springbank, which a lot of us don't have the opportunity to get unless you live in Scotland or you're able to visit the distillery. But overall, this is good stuff too. It's not bad stuff by any means. I think if you tried this, you would know exactly what I mean. I just can't stand the hype around it when it's really not as good. The 16-year-old back in the day created a name for this whiskey. I don't know if it was produced before that. It probably was. But that 16-year-old really created a name for the Local Barley. The 11 and the 10-year-old were good. This one is just okay. It's just okay. Would I buy it again? Probably not. I actually had a backup bottle of this and I let somebody else take it for whatever I paid just because I didn't need it. So there's... Very quickly, I'm wearing a Scotch for Dummies t-shirt over here. As you can tell, I have both sets of their coins, their collector coins, or their first fill and second fill is what they're calling it. They were nice enough to send me this care package recently with the numbers 006. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. So guys, if you haven't already, which I'm sure you have because they are one of the more popular Scotch channels out there, but go check out Scotch for Dummies. Go buy some coins because they're cool to fit on top of your glass like so, and they're cool collector items as well. A bunch of the channels are doing them. Maybe one day Whiskey in the Six will do them as well. Hope you guys like this video. You guys can check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You guys can also support the channel on Patreon. Cheers.